Hi guys, it's NerdMom here with the Homeschool Hangout. I just found out I am going to be on my own this week. Sugar is sick and has no voice, and when she tries to even appear to be breathing in a voice like manner, apparently she starts coughing. So you're stuck with me. Sorry, a lot of the flash of the show. Hopefully we'll be back to join us next week. This week we are talking about preventing the summer brain drain. This week for me, in some ways, summer's already started early. My kids had their big choir concert for the end of the semester happen this week, which I missed like a bad mom. I was up at Microsoft, so they've had a really easy week. It's going to be kind of hard bringing them back in to wrap up some school stuff, at least around here. But we are really speeding so fast towards the end of the school year. So Summer and I thought that this was a perfect time to talk about things we can do to engage our children's brains through the summer if you take a summer break. Here we don't exactly take a summer break. We kind of take a lighter load method and do some fun stuff. So let's jump into the bulk of our show. And it's actually, there are a lot of different types of things you can do to prevent the summer brain drain. And the first thing is those kind of summer activities. And when I say that, I mean Barnes & Noble always has a book reading list kind of competition thing where kids can earn free books. Our local used bookstore here, the Book Barn, they often, for younger kids, bring in Mother Goose, but in addition to that, during the summer, the last year at least, I don't know what they're planning yet for this summer, they had a treasure hunt where kids went to various businesses around town and read various books on adventure and kind of did a scavenger hunt around town. So the first thing I recommend is look for what your local bookstores and what the national bookstores and other organizations are doing for kids over the summer. It's that perfect time. Our local library usually does something where they can either earn prizes or hamburgers and french fries for every 5 books they read, and even to the point that I think they were doing some sort of, last year I believe it was, you read a bunch of books and you could be entered in certain drawings in addition to receiving prizes. Sometimes ours is themed, sometimes ours isn't themed, but that is the first place I start when I plan what my kids are doing for the summer intellectually, and so I find it great. Then of course we have all the various camps, and for us we have, church camps, vacation Bible schools, things like that keep them active, and some of them are even academic and will keep their brains going. So I highly recommend that kind of stuff also. It's fun. It's special. Our library offers, not our library, our zoo offers a summer camp. Our museum offers a summer camp. And those are specifically just for summer programs. So it's really nice if you can get in and do that. But then you can also do other activities for me, and I find summer's a great time. So and my daughter doesn't watch this show, so I can say it, we're considering getting her voice lessons. You can do some of these activities through the year, but let's be honest, our lives are so busy. This is that perfect time for a specialized subject that your kids want to work on but just hasn't had time. So singing, or there's a drum class at one of our local churches for drumming, or music lessons, or any of those things you just don't have time for during the year. The summer is a perfect time to do them, even though they're not like summer camp activities. And usually those teachers will work with you too. So if you're traveling during the summer, I was speaking to the voice teacher, and she said, well, we can do like a 6-week path. So pick the 6 weeks you're here and do those. And that's kind of nice, especially if you're doing individual lessons, because you can arrange them one-on-one and just decide that you're going to get them, 6 weeks or 8 weeks worth of lessons over the 3-month summer period, and they'll usually let you pick and choose when you do that. So that's one of the ways, learning a new skill, even if it's not math homework, will engage their brain and keep them active. So I also encourage parents to think about that, because I think we want to expose our children to so many things we just don't have time for. But then academics. Now, I don't know if you realize that math and reading specifically, kids can lose a grade level or 2 over the summer if they don't engage it at all. So there's kind of that idea of how do you bring that into the house and wrap it into whatever else you're doing for the summer or just your daily plan without making it feel like school. And for us, we do a variety of fun things. One is, this is a perfect time for your kids to learn how to type. There are some great typing programs, and I can include some links later, that your kids can get in and do. And just the idea of reading, even if it's the red fox jumps over the brown log, which I think is like the most common typing lesson sentence in the world, or the quick red fox jumps over the brown log, something along those lines that hits like most of your lines. Even doing that means they have to connect the words that they're reading to their brain to type it. So once they get through typing lessons, if you just want them to type and practice typing, you can give them whatever kind of material type, including, I'm going to say for other bloggers out there, possibly your articles, possibly some great quotes or Bible verses or things that they may or may not remember, but if they do, it'd be really nice, which is really bringing me some ideas. Maybe we'll do Newtonian physics or something quirky like that, that they may or may not remember the formulas, but hey, at least they're there. That is one of the fun ones, is typing. It's a great time to teach kids how to cook and have them help come up with recipes. You start teaching them how to format writing things. When my now 8-year-old decided he wanted to come up with his first recipe, we were watching way too much Food Network, and he decided that he had an idea of what fish tacos should taste like. Okay. And I do have to say, it's not that bad, the recipe isn't, but I taught him how to go through, and you put your title at the top, how to list your ingredients, where you put the measurements, the unit of measurement, the space, then explain the ingredient, then how to go step by step in process and write the procedure for how you make that. And you can do that with kids, starting with how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I remember a debate class I took in high school. That was actually one of our assignments, was to do a speech on how to instruct somebody to do something simply. And I heard more speeches on how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich by 14, 15, 16-year-olds than I ever thought possible, frankly. But it's a great exercise for children, especially younger children. So cooking is great. And the nice thing about teaching cooking over the summer, they have plenty of time to clean up the mess they are going to leave, and they are going to leave a mess. Just accept it now. Accept the fact that, you're going to need to invest in those little Clorox bleaching wipes or kitchen wipes and just wipe down the counters. It's about process, though. It's not about the heat. So even though, it's already 86 here in Fresno, you can do a lot of procedure of, this is how we cut an apple, or this is how we start the rice cooker. That's a very important one in my household. And you can start teaching them procedures in the kitchen more than the actual heat in the kitchen. And then in the fall, when you're all really busy because school has started back up, choirs have started back up, sports teams have started back up, all these things have started back up, they can help you cook. And trust me, it's so worth it. My husband did this last year, I think it was, or the year before, while I was at blogging conferences during the summer. And seriously, last week, I was able to tell my daughter, I put the chicken thighs in a container already and put barbecue sauce on them. I was like, go start the rice, turn the oven on at 350. When it's ready, put the chicken in and set the timer for 40 minutes. And dinner was cooking and done, and I didn't have to get up and do any of it. It was fabulous. So I really recommend cooking as a nice summer activity, because I understand in the fall, when you're running from activity to activity, spending an hour to go, oh yes, now let's take 25 minutes to cut up that apple, may be a little more than you want to do. But if you block out a morning a week, it's a great life lesson, in addition to the fact that it engages their brain. It gets them looking through cookbooks and finding what they want to cook. And it's also a great way to get them to eat vegetables and fruit, because it's too hot to really make a whole lot of other things. At least it is here where I live. So lots of salads and how to prep vegetables and things like that. And they not only will they eat it, they will guilt their siblings and their parents into eating it. So it's a great way to eat healthier during the summer. I do recommend you keep them back from the barbecue. This may not be the time to teach them how to barbecue, but there's a lot of work that goes into it other than putting it on the grill. So cooking is a big one for me. I also find it a great time to do unit studies, and these unit studies can be anything at all. Like, I just came back from Seattle. So for us, we're going to be doing a little unit study on Seattle about, we're going to use the gigapixel project that I learned about at Microsoft. So I admit there's a little bit of specific work stuff I'm pulling in, but also just having the kids research. They can go onto Google and type in historic landmarks in Seattle, and it'll give them a bunch, and then we can check out books in addition to that. And it's a great way to prepare for a trip, or just say, remember all those things we saw, now we're going to look into that. And so geography unit studies, this is a great time for. Summers are fabulous for it. It gets them reading, it gets them analyzing, and it's that time if they want to make a model or make something kind of kooky that would take up a lot of time, you can do it. Also, you can do unit studies, and anything that you looked at through the year that the kids, let's say it was you were studying science and how planes fly, and the kids are like, I love paper airplanes, and you're like, I don't have time for this right now. This is a perfect time to get a stack of scratch paper, check out some model airplane books or some paper airplane books from the library, and let them go crazy. You're going to be engaging their science and their logic and helping them pull it all together. It will be fabulous for them. So unit studies are great. Another thing that you can do, other than just unit studies, you can do science experiments. This is the time. In science experiments, I know you're thinking, I don't want to buy a bunch of stuff. I don't want to have to watch them do a bunch of stuff. No worries. You can get science experiment books at every level conceivable. And one of the best science experiment books for the summer, I find, is Science Experiments You Can Eat, starting with that good old classic rock candy, where you just mix up a sugar solution, basically, and drop in a string and let it grow. These don't have to be complicated, and anything can be really a science experiment. And if you go back to, I believe it was last week's show, or the week before, Sugar and I were talking about science experiments and science resources. But it could be anything from nature walks and looking up what kind of bugs you saw, or it was one of my first science fair projects. The most boring thing in the world is categorizing spices, and those are shockingly interesting. So science experiments, I want to see how fast this ball is going to go down this ramp, so I'm going to spend the next 3 hours throwing a ball down a ramp. If nothing else, it keeps that kid out of your hair so that you can enjoy your summer too. But it's wonderful. It's also a wonderful time for reading great novels and watching the movies afterwards, or before, depending on your personality. I say get your kids used to how you like to do it. I like to watch movies before I read the book. Otherwise, I spend the whole time complaining. So it's a great time to do a lot of those life learning, and that's it. You don't have to do everything else. It engages them. They love it, love it, love it. So it doesn't have to be hard. People are like, oh, do my kids have to do extra math books? Oh, do my kids have to do extra writing books? And there are a lot of really great resources out there. I love the math worksheet site. It is a great site because what it does is you can create math worksheets at just about any level, and it's all free. So if you think that your child could use a little extra sharpening, and we do a lot of that of, when they're younger, their multiplication tables are slow. And it's not that I'm a big one on speed and multiplication tables, but if they're having to count out on their fingers, maybe we'll do some math worksheets. There's a great editor-in-chief book that is all about editing. And while I'm not a big one for teaching grammar as a separate subject, an editing book, it can be a lot of fun because basically you get to draw all over a paragraph, underline, carets, all this fun stuff. And you can do all that, but you're actually learning how to look for the mistakes in your writing and someone else's writing, and it really does increase that logic development in addition to making you a better writer. So there are a lot of lightweight, not full courses, just little refresh books, and since it's the summer, it's a great time too to say, hey, you finished this book, it's 30 pages, it's 40 pages of activities like editing. At the end, we'll go out for ice cream one night, or we'll go do something fun. We'll go catch the free movies that they're going to do at AMC, at the AMC theaters that they do every summer. It's a great time to use those fun, free summer activities as an incentive to kind of motivate your children to sharpen their skills and just pay a little bit more attention to those details. As far as the not losing your mind, we're big believers in everybody goes outside first thing in the morning after breakfast. It gives mom time to gather herself, and it's the only time that it's not searing hot in Fresno. So, you know, there's all that kind of stuff. If you've always wanted your kids to work on throwing a good pitch, whatever, you can do that too, but that's not exactly where we're going with this. So those are my thoughts. I am going to be building lists in the next week or 2 or 3. I just got back from a trip to Microsoft, so I have a lot of things to write about some great resources, including I always do a local staycation post here in Fresno of a bunch of free or close to free, relatively inexpensive activities that are here. And I know that there is a big post out there, and I'm trying to remember. I want to say the Happy Housewife does it. I don't know if I'm participating in hers this week. I mean, this year. She has that pretty much for a lot of the areas through the nation, so you can look for great staycation options. I also found out that if you go to, I believe it's called the Gigapixel Project, and it's through Microsoft, they do have this crazy picture of Seattle that you can zoom in on and see faces and see landmarks and see all kinds of things. And Bing Pictures also, in Bing, they have pictures that they've stitched together that everyone has taken of a variety of landmarks and great places to see all over the world. So there's a lot of fun stuff out there that's free or near free on the internet and in your real life. But summer doesn't have to be the time that you have to lose all of the ground you've covered. And we want to keep those kids sharp because we work so hard to get them there, to get them to that edge, to that precipice, that it's like, I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to have to do a month of review of them going, I know how to do this, and you going, yeah, but you're getting it all wrong. So spending a little time in that summer brain, preventing the summer brain drain is really a key thing to a happy fall. So that kind of brings me to the end of that. So I don't see any questions. I do want to say, so I went to Microsoft this week, and it was fabulous. It was fun. If you read the Nerd Family blog or Geek for the Real Girl, there are going to be some great posts on everything from my traveling bunny has her own story this year, to great restaurants I ate at in the Ballard area of Seattle, to some of the fabulous stuff that Windows is doing. But of course, there's always the discussion because they brought together, I'd say, about a group of 20, you know, and what do you do? Oh, you homeschool. How long are you going to homeschool? How long have you homeschooled? All that stuff. And something I've been hearing a lot as my oldest child is hurtling towards high school. By the way, when did that happen? Dude is coming up to here on my nose. It's just, no, he's getting too old too fast. But everyone says, so are you going to send them to public school for high school? You're sending them to public school for high school, right? You're only going to do this till junior high. When they hear he's in junior high, then it's, oh, but you'll send him away to high school, right? Is it just me, or does the idea of if you are a homeschooler and you're not sending them to public school for a specific reason, like a class or sports programs? I know a lot of people who send their kids to public school for sports. If you're not doing it for one of those reasons, but just generically so they can experience the world, is it just me who says, do you pick the stupidest time in their life, which would probably be between the ages of 12 and 18, and that's when we're going to send you out to the highest level of peer pressure you are ever going to face, and that is the time that we're going to say, go swim, baby bird? I mean, I guess I kind of get the idea that you're doing it so that they can do stupid stuff while they still live at home. I kind of get that. But part of me says, if that's the case, I'll wait till they're 16, maybe. A little older. That 14 age, 14, 15, just seems so vulnerable. And they're just inherently, my kids are all out of there, so dumb. That it's this weird time in their brain development when they think they're invincible against the world, and they want to be liked, and you're going to send them to a group of people they've never gone to school with, so they're going to try to make them like them very, very quickly. I don't know. Is it just me? Am I being naive? Am I just really being closed-minded? I mean, how do I say this? High school wasn't all bad. Junior high wasn't all bad. But it was socially and emotionally some of the most vulnerable time of my life. It was when I felt like the outsider the most, and the only way to make people happy was to do what they wanted. So, I mean, that was my high school experience. I know lots of other people have other high school experiences. Am I being naive? Am I being that closed-minded, right-wing homeschooling mom? Is it? I don't know. I'd love to hear what you think about that in the comments, especially. You know, what do you think about taking a kid who's never been in school, in public school, and sending him, you know, in ninth grade, ejecting him out to the public high school? Am I being naive? Am I just thinking that I'm going to shepherd them through their teen years and they're not going to? I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. But I know today is a short show. Part of that is there's no sugar, and we miss you, sugar, and we hope you feel better. But join us next week at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, and we will be back again with some other fabulous subjects. I don't know what we're talking about yet next week. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments, and we look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Have a good week. Bye.